tutors. Thank you, tutors. That was fun. I love that Billie Eilish, your rendition. I love it. Duh. This is Contagious, or the Stay Home Comedy Show. I'm Brooke. I'm the host from the back line in Omaha, Nebraska. Ooh. Although I am on location, this is not my bedroom. I know. One mistake I made already, I didn't realize I was going to start my period, so I packed all my pretty underwear. It sucks. It's going to be pretty. I was like, do I start with that joke? Why not? Why not? It started with me, so I'm going to start with it. Oh, we've been doing this show every week for months now because of quarantine, and a lot of people are getting vaccinated, so we're not quite as contagious. We're going to keep it going for a few more weeks, mostly because there's so many funny comedians. There really is a lot, and I've been meeting so many over the last year, and I want to showcase them all if I can. So I've got three today, and then a couple for the lightning round at the end, so that'll be fun. Let's see. Okay, I told my period joke. Okay, cool. My name's Brooke. I spell it with an E. Sometimes I'll spell it wrong. Like if I'm in a hurry, right, or stressed out, and then I'm broke. It's the worst. So I need at least 2 O's. And I'm like, Mom, where'd you come up with this name? You know, and I guess from a soap opera. You know, she had high hopes. She said the girl in the soap opera, she was so pretty, you know, and like that's so important. And she had 4 husbands. Yeah. I've only had 1 so far. I need 3 more. So looking for my next ex. Just trying to make my mama proud, you know, no biggie. I don't know. Dating's annoying. I don't really like it. Maybe because I'm not regular and I don't like to have regular, like, boring conversation. I guess it's like, it's important though to slowly get to know somebody, you know, and not just like dive in, you know, and be like, no, like you like, you take your time, you get to know them and all that stuff. So whatever. No big deal. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I was going to tell you about my first time. I thought it was going to be like a really big deal. My first time what? My first time losing my virginity. Going there. Or with period. It's the next logical place to go. You know, I thought I was in love. You know, he was the first guy I dated after my high school boyfriend. He said he had done it before, so no pressure. Whenever I felt comfortable. I didn't have any experience though. I didn't realize he didn't have the right tool. I mean, he had one. It was just really little, really little. He's like, tell me if it hurts. What? Like, tell me this isn't what sex is. Like, take it back. Nah. So now I just ask for dick pics straight away. Or a clit pic, you know? I mean, I've seen clits bigger than that little dinky dink, so why not? Coolest dick pic I ever got was a panoramic. Pretty neat. I'm just like, okay. Woo, hot room today, everybody. I know. They're not that funny. I laughed. I mean, I should have laughed. I should have laughed in his face. I was way too nice. Way too nice. I guess I'll laugh now. Teeny tiny little not cool. Speaking of, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Get away. I don't know. I think like being, how do you call it? Like, I'm not like a Christian. I'm not really like an atheist. I have a 69 fairy that I pray to. They speak to me. They give me signs, letting me know that I'm on the right track. You know, I got in the car yesterday and my speedometer 69 right in the middle, you know. And that's luck. Like, that's not, is it luck? Is it fate? It just felt right, you know? And it's because being a white girl growing up in the Midwest, you get too many sixes. So like 69s are kind of sacred, you know, because they imply like a giving and a receiving, you know. It's almost like, wow, what is this? Like East Coast people get it, West Coast people get it. They've been progressive for a long, long, long time, right? Not so much in the Midwest. We give and we give and we give. Yeah. So then I was driving and I saw that one on the truck. I saw another one on the truck. I saw a license plate. I saw like all these 69s and I'm like, everything's going to be okay. Like everything's going to be okay. And like right when I like knew it, like I felt it. Like I felt it. I was like and then also the like because of the and like the 69 fairy does show up. Usually there's cum underneath my pillow. That's usually how I know. But sometimes it's on the interstate driving on the road.
Oh my God.
Pretty cool. And I think the 69 fairy timed it right because it was like right before my period started. So lucky them. Okay. Lucky them. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh at these comedians for the show, so I'm not gonna take too much of me up on this screen here. I'm gonna give it away. But thank you for being here and watching. Thank you, tutors. Thank you, Backline. Oh, we're gonna have a comedy show. You ready for a comedy show?
Woo!
Okay. We've got a comedian that's traveling, a comedian at home, and a comedian that's well, you'll see. You'll see. It's exciting. I'm excited. First comedian traveling, like I said, somewhere in the middle of Arizona. We're hoping for the hottest spot in town, like so hot, if you know what I mean. Like good, deep connection because they got to know each other and stuff like that. Stability. Please put your hands together. Welcome to the screen, the first comedian of our showcase, Geraldine Cox.
So I am Geraldine. Like Brooke said, I am traveling. I took this ridiculous road trip to California and I'm heading back home. So I'm having some connectivity issues. I'm in a Walmart parking lot. Hopefully that it goes well. I have not seen any 69 relevance on my travels. However, when I was moving over here to hopefully get better reception, I did see a real life math word problem exiting the store.
Oh no.
How many kernels of corn does Tiffany have?
How
That's
many?
all you got. Exactly. How many? And if they're going 60 miles per hour, how fast will they get to the Krispy Kreme? Anyways, I am from Indianapolis. I started doing comedy in like March of 2020, which I don't recommend actually at all. Because starting comedy at the beginning of a pandemic just kind of felt like I missed a bus. Like I felt like all my friends got on the bus to the field trip and I was just left here. So, don't recommend it. It was kind of weird telling friends and family that I started doing comedy though, because it just felt like I was telling everybody like, hey, you know how I'm like kind of weird and annoying? I'm gonna go on purpose in public repeatedly. Brooke, I love your laugh. My parents had a really awesome response to that though. So like I told my mom a couple of months after I had started doing this and she was like, well, why didn't you tell me sooner? Like your dad and I have both wanted to do stand-up before. Like your dad has a whole set written, which is just the nicest possible way that your mom can tell you that you are not special, honestly. I did grow up in Indy though, which if you don't know is kind of like Bible Belty. So like, growing up in Indy, you're either a family that goes to church or you're a family of heathens. And I don't but somehow I wound up being both of those kinds of people. It's just like God was making me, and it was like sugar, spice, and a bunch of whoopsie daisies, I guess. She'll figure it out. But growing up in church and like oh no, am I back?
Yeah. You said at church.
Okay, cool. I'm back. But yeah, so you grow up going to church, you read the Bible a lot, and the Bible has a funny way of like saying things without saying it. Like it likes to use euphemisms, which is fine, I guess. But some of the things that it says kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like specifically when the Bible talks about sex, it's obviously not like explicit. It's not describing orgasms or anything, because God forbid sex be fun in the Christian church. But it says stuff like, and then he lay with her as husband and wife does, which is not a comfortable sentence. Like, not okay. It's kind of creepy. I would much rather be reading that as an adult and just come to that verse and it says, and then they boned. That would be 10 times more comfortable for me. Because otherwise it just sounds like an old man hitting on me and just being like, come lay with me, darling. No, I'm good. I also, part of my discomfort comes from the fact that I don't fully trust American Christians enough to the point where I don't believe that there's not somebody out there who has like, who's read that verse and isn't just like, aw, they took a nap. That's cute. But another thing about growing up in the Midwest is like, you realize that there's not a lot of nuance or gray areas in the belief systems here. Like, in Indiana, there's the typical, you're either a Purdue family or you're an IU family. You either voted for Donald Trump or you have a Black Lives Matter sticker on your bumper. And then, in the Midwest, you either grew up in a family where you knew that your mom wanted to fuck either Brad Paisley or Tom Brady. Okay, we're back with Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
We laughed.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so your mom wanted to fuck Brad Paisley or Tom Brady. Cool. It wasn't a secret. It's like Sunday afternoon and Tom Brady shows up on your TV screen and your dad's just like, hey, honey, it's your boyfriend. But like, no matter what kind of family you grew up in, your dad, without a doubt, wanted to fuck Danica Patrick. Also not a secret. I guarantee you there is still a poster in your garage to this day. I'm pretty sure my dad had one. Or if you're like my family also, your dad might have brought home a life-size cardboard cutout of her and it wound up in your brother's bedroom. And I didn't realize why my dad thought that was so funny until I wrote that down. And I was like, oh, gross. It did not cross my mind. But I get it now. I'm like, ew. Oh, man. But you know what? We made it through 2020. That's exciting. 2021, I'm sure it's going to have its own level of bullshit, but we'll get there. But like a lot of Americans in 2020, I'm now medicated, which is like, yes. So like, that's cool. But what really concerned me about like going through that process was how like the psychiatrists in America, like that whole like medication sphere just kind of operates on the risk it for the biscuit mentality. Like you go to them and you ask for help, as you should, and they hand you a brain drug and they say, this might be helpful to you. We'll check back in after 6 months of fuckery and see if you're still here. And if you are and you want to try again, because it probably didn't work for you the first time, we'll give it.
I think we lost you again.
Okay.
There you are.
Hey, hello. Where did I leave off? Okay. What was the last y'all heard? before it cut off? Do we know, or do I just keep
I
going?
don't remember the exact word.
Okay, so basically American psychiatry revolves on the risk it for the biscuit mentality. I only have a couple more, so I promise you won't have to deal with this torture for much longer. So they operate on the risk it for the biscuit mentality because you go to them and you ask for help, and they give you a brain drug and they say this might help you, but we don't know. It's going to take 6 months of fuckery really to figure it out, and you'll come back, and if you're still here, we'll try again. If it didn't work, and we'll just keep doing that until you either quit or you die, whichever one. But you know what? This is America, so it is not billable to your insurance, and you can't sue us. Good luck.
Oh no.
I didn't have cable in 2020, which was totally self-care. Honestly, I do recommend it, but I felt kind of disconnected, like especially during the primaries of the election. Like it felt like every time I was scrolling through Twitter during the primaries, it felt like I was scrolling through like Bachelor Nation Twitter. Like every week somebody would drop out and they would just be like, oh no, Andrew Yang, you didn't find your love this season. Oh no. Hopefully America in 2024 will be ready for Elizabeth Warren's heart. But one of the things that did like slip through my filters was I heard at one point that Rush Limbaugh got on his radio show and said that American
Rush Limbaugh,
Americans.
Said that Americans would.
This is a new comedy.
Okay, I'm back. Cool. Zoom comedy's awesome. I'm gonna rush to this last one. Rush Limbaugh got on his radio talk show and said that American millennials have overreacted to the pandemic and that we're not being resilient enough. And the people who we should look to for that resilience is the Donner Party. And if you don't know who the Donner Party is, they were a group of people who were traveling either on the Oregon Trail or the Santa Fe Trail. Doesn't really matter which one. What does matter though is that they were very ill prepared and they fucking ate each other. That was their response to their terrible times, was to eat each other. And that's who Rush Limbaugh wants us to look to. So it seems to me like that man gave us permission to eat the rich.
Nice.
Also, like, what happens when his yes, not in the fun 69 kind of way, in the actual awful cannibalistic way, not the enjoyable one. Also, like, what happens when his male married friends come to him and tell him, like, oh, I'm fighting with my wife? Does he, like, reference Henry VIII to them? Like, is that where he goes? Is he just like, oh, you're fighting with your wife, you should excommunicate yourself and behead her? That is the correct form of action here. But anyways, I am Geraldine. I am traveling. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I love Zoom comedy. I love this so much. Thank you, Brooke. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for everybody else.
Oh my. That deserves a special award. 1 for Geraldine for doing that, and then 2 for everyone watching. There was people on the live stream watching. Oh, that was great. I did like a Zoom show and it's just you and you can't see anyone else, but you can see you. And I can't imagine doing it where you can't see you. But I guess you could see you because you're you. But wow, that was cool. That worked. We still got to laugh at you. One more round of applause for Geraldine, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
We're gonna move right along. The next person I've been able to see the whole time, so we should be good. Everyone, please put your hands together right now for Ben Miller.
Thanks. Yeah. Joan, that was very impressive. You like working through all the technology issues and stuff. My gumption, and also probably doing a Zoom comedy set is the most normal thing that's ever happened in a Walmart parking lot. Also, and your matzah mask thing. So I don't know if other people saw it, but so impressive. I thought that I was pretty Jewish, but then I saw that and I'm like, oh, I'm not Jewish enough. That is, you're far more Jewish than I imagine there's like a set of them. Like somebody has like the matzah over their mouth, one the matzah over their ears, and one like the matzah over their eyes, and it's like like see no gluten, hear no gluten, eat no gluten, or something like, or like leavened bread. Sorry, I know I said gluten instead of leavened bread. I'm not a good enough Jew. That's why. I don't know. I am somewhat Jewish though. I feel like I'm pretty Jewish. I'm actually so Jewish that my first kiss was the Torah. I don't know if maybe some of you aren't familiar with our traditions, but at like bar and bat mitzvahs, they like pass around the Torah and everybody has to kiss it. And so I was 8 years old and I was very scared and I accidentally used tongue. Yeah. I'd like to think that it wasn't an accident. I was just trying to show everybody how passionate I was about the Lord. That was that was my goal. All right, I guess nobody else has gotten sloppy with the holy book before. That's fine. Yeah. Has anybody here lost their job because of the pandemic? Anybody?
Woo!
I feel like people that lost their job because of the pandemic are sort of posers. See, I got fired last January like a real man. Yeah, I actually earned losing my job. Not like all these entitled millennials.
Fucking millennials.
Thanks for echoing me, even though I was slightly making fun of you. Even though not really, because you didn't. I was a bad employee, or not really. I got fired in sort of like a weird way. Like my boss called me into his office, and he was like, "Hey Ben, the company's running out of money, so we're gonna have to let you go in 2 months." Yeah, they fired me in the future. It was real weird. It was sort of like hard to like find motivation at my job after that, because my boss is like, "Hey Ben, you should do this thing." And I'm like, "Well, what if I don't? Are you just gonna fire me again?" Like, wasn't really sure how it worked. All right, I'll tell you a bit more about myself. I have pectus excavatum. It's a medical condition, not a Harry Potter spell. What happened? It's sort of hard to see on camera, but like my rib cage ended up caving inward because it inherited my personality. That's what ended up happening. So this condition, it develops during puberty, and so I didn't realize that I had it until there's this swim unit in my high school gym class where we all had to have our shirts off, and kids just like kept making fun of my weird chest until I told the doctor about it, and the doctor's like, "Yeah, they're right."
Oh.
Yeah, it's just to thank my bullies for their good work. Yeah. Sometimes though, like when people find out about my chest, they're like way too supportive. They're like, "Oh Ben, you're perfect just the way you are," which no, I'm not. Like, if you ordered ribs at a restaurant and then you got my ribs, you would send them back. Are you guys going to see my chest in the chat, Brooke? What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe not in the chat.
Is the host harassing me? What's going on?
Like,
They're definitely getting canceled for this. You just have inviting people on the show, ask them to expose themselves. This is. Listen, I'm in the safety of my own home, not like a Walmart parking lot. Okay?
Oh no.
You can look up pictures online if you're really interested. It's not as exciting as you think it would be. No, we don't need to. No more skin needs to be exposed on the show. It doesn't make it better.
Oh my god.
Is this what daytime comedy is? I feel like things are getting real weird because it's the light is out and it's more salacious because like of sun and stuff. I don't know. I'll get back to some jokes. I've been quarantining with a friend. He's a very like fit, muscular guy. but also he doesn't have gluten or dairy, which seems sort of like a weird contradiction. Because he's like, yeah, man, I'll eat pussy all day, but I can't eat bread. Like, there are two things I don't tolerate in this world: people who skip leg day and cheese. He's a very like confident man. Like, he's the type of confidence where he can like go jogging shirtless or like shake another man's hand without having to apologize. I don't know if this happens to you, but every time I shake another guy's hand, he always has to like stop me and tell me like exactly what I did wrong and how like over the course of the handshake he lost complete respect for me. So he's like, listen, like firm grip and then 2 pumps. Then if he messes up again, you have to call me dad. Speaking of my dad, he actually owns a small business. How small is it? He's the only employee. Yeah, so when people online are like, you have to support small businesses, I'm like, okay, I'll call him more often, I promise. Yeah, I remember my first job actually when I was like 7 is he used to like send out mailings. What I would do is I would like lick the envelopes and then close them. And then but he found out that like if he just like ran a sponge under the tap, he could do it much faster. So he fired me. Yeah, I was literally replaced by a wet sponge. Yeah, it started like a lifelong feud between me and sponges. Like every time I'd go into the kitchen, I would like angrily glare at the sink. Or like every time SpongeBob SquarePants came on the TV, I would hate the theme song. Be like, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Be like, that no good job stealing sponge. That's who. Yeah, I feel like the happiest day of my childhood was the day we got a dishwasher because it was like, ha, now we're both obsolete. How does it feel, Sponge? Yeah, finally I'm revenge. Yeah, I've sort of an old dad. I'm 24, but my dad is 72 years old. Yeah, so he's been old my entire life. Like, I remember even at 5 thinking like, oh man, my dad is about to die. Yeah, he'd be like, hey son, you want to play catch? I'd be like, of course, Papa. I'll play catch with you this one last time. Switch gears. I can you giving me a high five?
I was throwing the ball last time.
You were acting out the yeah. I don't know if you can tell. I'm not a very physical comedian. I don't really do much with my hands or my face. I don't expose my chest. I'm sorry. I'm not in my count, but I am actually I am sort of fit. I can do more pull-ups than all of you. I can do more pull-ups than every single one of you. It's true. You can deal with that however you want, but it's the truth. Ian, how many pull-ups do you think you could do?
Me?
Yeah.
0.
All right. Well, then I can definitely do more than 0. What about you, Kirk? How many pull-ups do you got?
Oh man, I'll say like 15.
15.
Yeah.
Damn. I wouldn't believe you, but you are holding a cigarette, so everything becomes a little more cool and trimmer. Like maybe. What about your cat in the background? How many pull-ups can your cat do?
I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that.
You don't think your cat is good at
They
pull-ups?
don't have thumbs to grip the bar, so 0.
I don't know. But if they can't do pull-ups, then how do they always get stuck in trees?
Yeah, it's who knows? Who knows? Man.
What about you, Brooke? How many pull-ups do you think you got?
Maybe 8 or 9. I don't know.
All right. I can do more pull-ups than all of you, not to brag. It's just the gosh darn truth. You can deal with this however you want, but in the past month, I've had 4 friends tell me that because of me, they've bought a pull-up bar, which means that I'm a fitness inspiration. Yeah, but I'm not like a fitness inspiration like The Rock, where you're like, oh, I wish I could be like as big and strong as him. I'm a fitness inspiration as in like, oh fuck, Ben can do more pull-ups than me. Oh no, I need to work on myself. Yeah, I want to start like a like a reality show type thing that's just called "So You've Been Emasculated by Ben Miller." That's the working title. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like quarantine has been a little bit lonely, right? We've all been a little bit sad and lonely. Does anybody have anything in mind as like the saddest, loneliest thing that they've done during quarantine? Anybody wanna? Nobody? That's all right. Okay, I'll
What? The saddest what?
just like I don't know, just like the most lonely thing that you've done during quarantine.
Oh, I mean, I just went to California by myself for a week and slept in a car because I didn't feel like getting a hotel.
I mean, that sounds like pretty frugal. Like everybody in the
Fair.
Zoom is nodding, like good idea. I wish I had a car to sleep in. That sounds
It's a rental.
even more frugal. You don't have to pay for repair or upkeeps. Yeah. All right. I'll tell all of you the loneliest thing that I've done during quarantine is at some point I remember licking my mustache and thinking, oh man, this reminds me of going down on a woman.
Ah!
Yeah, I know. Really sad. I was turned on by my own facial hair, which is ironic because women aren't. Yeah. All right. Well, you have all been really fun. I appreciate you letting me tell you all jokes. Keep it going for your host, Brooke.
Aw.
Yeah. That was fun. That was really fun. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for bringing your weird and not showing your skin. I appreciate that. I mean, if it's even close to as weird as you said it was, like, thank you for not, that was really fun. I'm glad that you're here. We're gonna do one more comedian of the showcase, and then we'll have a little bit of a lightning round. This has been really fun so far. I'm excited for the end. Next comedian living in New York. Little bit of a superstar. Met her, I think, at the Anarchy, but we're gonna meet in real life next time you pass through town. Everyone, please put your hands together for Hannah Simpson.
Hi, everybody. So I got to put my mask on. Ben, I am pretty Jewish. I'm keeping carbs out, A lot of Jews are very strange. It's like we spent 40 years or hundreds of years in slavery, 40 years in the desert, but we can't do a couple of Seder's in the modern day plague. It's like, come on, people. We've been there, done that, literally written the book about it. Like, come on. I don't know. I feel like I want to start off with a Bible joke or two before I tell all the jokes that'll get me canceled, or better yet, get canceled, because you shouldn't be telling the jokes that I do. So one of my favorite ones is, this is an original, of course. Adam, the first human being, walks into a comedy club, hears a really funny joke, and totally splits a rib. Now, that's even. I think there was a little delay there. That's okay. I'll let you see it on the video. It's got a double punchline in it, kind of like how I get sexed. Brooke, I was thinking about your, issue with dick pics, and this is something I've been workshopping. So I do actually have a system. People give me dick pics, but I understand that a dick pic has an expiration date, you don't know how long it's been or how long it ever was or could possibly be, obviously, with a dick. So I call it the index finger system, okay? I tell you an index and you write it on your finger. So if you want to send me a dick joke, I say Dow Jones Industrial. And then you find out what it closed at the last time it was open. And I really want to see your handwriting more than anything else. But, it's a great way to personalize your penis pictures, because that way I know it's you. That way I know because it's the right index. If you give me a NASDAQ photo, I know it's not the one I asked for. And I never asked for Bitcoin, so that goes up and down faster than a penis itself. That's out of the question. It's got to be something relatively stable. I want consistency. So your Dow, your NASDAQ, your S&P-ness, whatever Yeah, speaking of writing things on my penis, yes, I can say that. I'll explain all about that part shortly. I was thinking about one specific tattoo. I'm Jewish, as Ben and I have been discussing. I'm not really into body modification other than the little ear piercings and, obviously becoming myself. That's a whole nother story. I had a sect change, everybody. I used to be a conservative Jew. Now I'm a Reformed Jew. Everyone mishears me. They say, you had a sex change? I'm like, that too, but it's not the word I use. By the way, if my jokes come out of nowhere, I'm only good at one kind of transition. Yeah, sometimes they're non sequiturs. But the point is that I had this, idea. I wanted to get Waldo on my penis, okay? That way, when the doctors turned it inside out, if anybody asked, where's Waldo? It could have been like, why don't you go find him, Do a little spelunking. But, I'm really glad that I didn't do this, okay? I'm really glad I didn't do this because it's been 7 years now, and I learned something. First of all, it's actually kind of ironic how the same it is, but Waldo and vaginas both age terribly, okay? Mine's only 7, which in my book is just old enough to be fucked. No, I'm kidding. Don't fuck children, people, until they grow up and become consenting vaccinated adults. Anyway, but it's for me, it's old enough because you have to like the woman it's attached to as well. And I'm a little bit older than 7, obviously. But the point is, I realize now if anybody went looking for it, they'd be going into my mittens and finding Bernie Sanders. Would have been like Waldo with the glove and then, Bernie Sanders with the mittens by the time that somebody ever found it. That would have been bad. But I really do tell people that my body modification street cred is more than in order, okay? Even without a bunch of extra tattoos and ink up my sleeve. My piercing, everyone asks me, what's your gauge? And I'll say, well, my piercing is the size of a Daniel. What do you mean the size of a Daniel? I'm like, well, Daniel fit okay. Jake was too big, and I didn't even realize Doug was there for half an hour. Yeah, speaking of big penises, other parts of me are getting bigger too, unfortunately, or smaller. I don't know. I figured out a trick because of the pandemic. Everyone's gaining weight. So I figured out a really amazing secret. I went from 190 down to 86 just by switching the scale to kilograms. So that really happened and really was good for me. This whole thing is you have to give me a break, okay? This is all post-baby weight here, okay? I used to be a baby. And it's all post-baby weight. But, I took a lot of the jokes about my transition. But the first thing I want to talk about, because this is a pandemic comedy hour, is really, what's going on in New York, okay? And, everybody asks me, what's been the biggest change? And I try to explain to them that it's riding the subway, okay? Because it used to be really crowded. The subway was undersized for the city. It was always on the move, and you could never get a seat. You always had to stand, right? Now it's really easy to get a seat, and I have this whole second hand. I don't know what to do with it when I'm masturbating, okay? Mm-hmm. Does it go around the back? Does it watch? What do you do with the second hand with your mask when you masturbate on the subway? I never used to have one. And because there's no other New Yorkers standing up on the poles, I can see that everyone else sitting down in the seats is having the same problem too. So New Yorkers, we may appear rough on the outside, but the truth is we really have big hearts and we're always there to lend a hand. And conveniently, I have a second one. Mutual masturbation, it's a good thing. Because when you think about it, we've been so worried for the last year that having sex with someone is going to kill us. So I really just want to go back to what I was doing in medical school, which is considering fucking people who are already dead. I mean, necrophilia is a team sport, kind of. It's better than one-player Battleship. At least you can improve when you practice on your own. It's like, how do you miss in one-player Battleship? You turn around and you're like, B5, and you're like, fuck. So necrophilia is an interesting thing. Like, the good thing about cadavers is they never say no, even to the weird stuff.
Jesus.
The bad thing is they never say thank you. And when you're someone with a really delicate sense of self and esteem, it's like, you want some affirmation that you put a smile on your face, even if you had to move their lips yourself. But seriously, wear gloves when you do that, okay? You just put your dick in that, or your tongue in that mouth, and now you're gonna move. Wear gloves, seriously. I'm just recommending.
Okay.
About those ribs, Ben, by the way, you know, like, I'm not just a necrophilia, I'm also a necrofoodie. Oh, come on, Ben, it's better than eating living people, right? When you fucking eat dead people in medical school, it's called a Donner sex party. That was for Geraldine. So, if you've been following the news, oh, come on, don't like get mad at me. I'm a really nice person, okay? I had the dick part of me surgically removed, okay? I can't possibly be awful anymore. I mean, but that's the thing with Andrew Cuomo. Like, you know, here in New York, when we hear about all these allegations, I'm like, you know, there's one responsible thing you can do with a dick. Get rid of it, you know? Give it to someone else. Just keep giving it to someone else. I mean, with consent, that's the word. Yeah, consent is really hard to get from cadavers. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I mean, I try to like be a nice person, and like, you know, it's interesting because it wasn't that I was bad at, you know, I wasn't a bad man. I was just bad at being a man, okay? But I will tell you one thing, misogyny is so much easier to bear as the perpetrator. Okay, like it never impacted me nearly as much as it does now. I know, I mean, seriously. Sexism, though, is still rampant in this pandemic. Like everyone who, you know, every woman who has a bra in their closet had to make that shit last for months until the stores reopened, right? And you know that bras have a shelf life, you know, get it? Shelf life. Meanwhile, every guy within a bra in his closet got 2 extra masks. But one thing that has happened to me a couple of times is that something I have to do now and something that I started doing when I became a woman have kind of intersected. So I used to carry around, you know, an extra pair of panties because, you know, you want to stay fresh and throughout the day, and those things get, yes, there's less to physically hold up now, but there's more contact with this whole like chasm of awfulness, which I'll talk about in a second. Brooke knows where this is going. But what happens is, like, I would keep that in my bag because, you know, clean underwear doesn't hurt anything. It's just a pair of whatever. But now I've got all these masks in my bag too. So when I'm reaching in, you know, sometimes I pull something out. My mask kind of looks and feels like this, and it's made by Hanes, literally. And my underwear kind of looks and feels like this, and it's made by Hanes, literally. And so I pull it out and I start, but I'm like, oh shit. And once you're out, you're like, you just gotta run with it. And you totally just gotta do this, okay? And if anybody asks, this is for like if you have a second head, like this is good for eating. I mean, it's actually not the worst mask in the world, all things considered. You can kind of get it any way you want to. And like I used to see people doing this in Harlem every single day walking down the street. But now all of a sudden, like sniffing underwear in public isn't like something anybody looks at like weirdly. So you just gotta run with it is what I'm saying. But the last thing I want to talk about is when you do have gender surgery and you're, temporarily back home and recovering, what they don't tell you is that you don't just get a beautiful new vagina, okay? You get this bloody, stinky, oozy, pussy, gushy, open disgustingness chasm into your body. It's like the Mopar accessories of Chrysler for bodies. Like it's the Mopar vagina, the aftermarket model. And like I needed something to support it, to hold it up, to cover the openness. I needed like a bandage, something that would be, supportive, stay in place with some kind of adhesive, maybe be contoured to the inside of my leg and be as discreet as possible. So I went to the local pharmacy and it turns out bleeding out of your vagina is a thing. I never realized how many women had gender reassignment surgery. What else could it possibly be? So just waiting for me were all of these different padded materials to try. And I realized that as women, the more choices we get, the less choices we actually have. Because I looked at them and I realized that there were all these posh pads, the ones that were suave and sophisticated, fancy wrappers, prices marked up, keep you all secure. And then there were the sporty pads, the ones that you could hit the home run, join the swimming team, be the cheerleader with your pad. And then there are the ones that would cover you up like a big old baby for those heavier, ooey gooey, gushy, mushy days. And I'm sitting there on the floor of the CVS. I'm sitting there on a donut on the floor of the CVS. I'm sitting there on a donut on the floor. On a donut on a towel on the floor of the CVS. Because I'm like a trail of breadcrumbs, only they're blood crumbs wherever I'm going. I'm like Hansel and Dirty Gretel. And so what I realized is that you have choices, but they're really false choices because posh, sporty, or baby, they all end up ginger and scary.
Ah!
Thank you very much, everybody, for sitting through me with such patience and grace. Now, don't get yourselves diseased, okay?
Hannah Simpson! Who knew? I'm looking at her all different now. Not you, my one more round of applause for Ben and Geraldine. And we had the tutors. We're gonna do a lightning round. We've got 2 comedians. You love them. You've seen them before. Please put your hands together for Ian Ryland Smith.
Woo!
What do you have against gingers?
Yeah.
What's up with that? That's whack. Anyway, so we all know that there's this equation to find out who's the youngest person you can fuck. It's half your age plus 7. Which, yeah, that works. That for me that's 19 because I'm 24. So how do you find out who's the oldest person you can fuck? The other way. Do you just take that formula in reverse? Or no? Because if you do the formula in reverse, it's twice your age minus 7. And for me, twice my age is 48. And minus 7, that's 41. But that doesn't work. Because for 41, to do half your age plus 7, that's half of 41. Let's round down to 20. Plus 7 is 27. And that's not 24. That's a different number. Some people call it 27 or 9 cubed if you have a math degree.
No one says it like that.
Actually, no, it's 9 squared. My bad. It's 3 cubed. It's 3 cubed. I used to be a math major, and well, I don't have a math degree, so that should clue you into how that went. Didn't go very well. Let's see. So yeah, the real equation is you just do it backwards. See, you start with your age, or no, half their age minus 7 equals your age. So, oh no, not minus 7, plus 7. Half of their age, plus 7.
I
Misspoke.
love math.
Half of their age plus 7 equals your age. So I'm 24. So I take 7 out of my age, and that's 17. And 17 times 2 is 34. So the oldest I can go is 34. Which a little disappointing, but you know what? That's how it's got to be done, I guess. So yeah, I'm sure that number will get exponentially higher as I get older. I think, like, imagine being 80 and then fucking someone who's 40. Okay, bye.
Ira!
Okay. Math. Wow. I did not follow any of your equations, and I don't think that's the only way it has to be, but I love that you're calculating. You know, that's remarkable. I think you can date whoever the hell you want to if they're over 18, honestly, or like whatever, you know. And I think there's another equation that maybe you haven't thought about, so I'll share it with you. This is the Freak-a-leak equation.
Yeah.
So they're ranked a little. Usually pastors' kids are at the top of the Freak-a-leak equation, repressed as hell. Teachers' kids are also right at the top of that list. Can anyone else think of another? Am I missing any of the big categories? Those are the top 2 that I personally can speak to. You know, and moms, I think, would
respiratory
come in.
therapists' daughters and electricians' daughters. Also pretty leaky.
Surgeons,
all right.
and doctors.
I might have done the
Doctors,
pastor's
yep.
daughter
Doctors
research.
and surgeons.
See?
That's neat.
With great power comes great responsibility. There was Ian. That's how he came about, right? So all I'm saying is maybe we need to think less about age and think more about how much of a freak-a-leak you're looking for. I'm just offering it as a different opportunity. Bras are canceled, by the way, for the rest of life. I'm doing what Hannah said. They should have been canceled a long fucking time ago. I think pants with buttons are also on the list, but I know for sure dresses without pockets are canceled from here on out. I don't know if you guys got that memo, but fuck those.
Yes.
We're only going now with full pockets because that's the only equality that anyone will listen to for women these days, which is an reality. We're still in progress on that one. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm thinking a lot about how COVID has helped me with bathrooms because I pee a lot throughout the day. I get a little anxious. I'm an anxious peer. I used to live in New York, so I'm used to planning my life based on where the bathrooms I can stop at are. I think that's a more woman than man problem because you guys can whip out your little willy and like do it wherever. I know. They make ones for women. It's still I haven't perfected the art yet, okay? I'm not gonna lie and tell you I'm like great. I will pop a squat pretty much anywhere. I did pee on one of my good friends, Derek Jeter hats one time when I popped a squat. So I guess my aim is not good. She's still pissed about it. Sorry, Clara. I just want with thoughts about Cuomo, I feel like he saw some of the stand-up where I modeled apologizing and taking accountability. I've been practicing that, and I think that he needs to practice too. We're gonna make something to aid all this called Dickopedia, but it's gonna be Dickopedia ETC. So you submit any claims to me and we'll run the world now. That's been my time, Ira Claiborne.
Woo!
And Hannah Simpson.
Well, I want to take Brooke's challenge and, show everybody my balls without showing any skins. So I'm just gonna take out this biohazard box here.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
A little Jewish fun fact that the body is supposed to be buried whole. And if you tell a hospital this before you have gender surgery, they will wrap everything up in little Chinese food containers. In the event that I was thinking about this when Ben talked about playing catch with his dad, and I was like, oh, balls. Let me tell you a joke about balls. But what I also was going to talk about is philosophy, okay? This is something I'm working on, is like I'm trying to challenge myself to be more philosophical. And the way I did that is by changing my Wi-Fi network to the name Our World. Because when I come into the house, I start searching for our world. And then I discover our world, and I'm asked, would you like to connect to our world? Well, fuck, of course, yes, I want to connect to our world. You are finding our world, but the signal is weak. Can you get closer to our world? Well, I'm trying. I go on dates on Tinder. I'm really out there. You are connected, but our world is unstable. I know that. I realize that. Our world is unsecure. How much would you like to share with our world? I'm not really sure. I change my mind every day. Would you like to put your printer out there for our world? Fuck no! You are now disconnected from our world. Will you be returning to our world, or do you wish to forget our world? I don't have an answer for that one yet. Click. And with that.
Oh my god, I love comedians. Keep it going. That was a really fun show. We'll be back next Friday for another dose. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.